Hello, my name is Hakon, and today I'm back with Fighting Fantasy Freeway Fighter. This is my third time playing this book. As you may recall from the last few videos, I had a very early death in my first run and quite an early one in my second one as well when I ran out of petrol. So, in this third run, I will see if I can find more petrol and I will try to explore some of the locations that I have not looked at yet. This is my map. This is where I died. Oh, sorry. This is where I died the first time. And over here, of course, where I ran out of petrol my second run. And hopefully this time I will be able to get further. I did seem like I was on the right track, getting to San Anglo for my mission. But there's still some way to go before I can call victory on this one, I think. So I'll be right back and I'll be ready on my desk with my things for the third run on Freeway Fighter by Ian Livingstone. Right, I am back. I've got my book, got my character sheets. I've got a new one today. Got pen, pencil, dice, and got my maps from my previous two runs. And I will see if I can do better this time. First of all, I'll establish my starting abilities. So skill. I'm not going to do 1. Sorry, 3. Yeah, that's acceptable. 9 stamina, so 10 plus 24 in this case, and a luck, so that is 8. Firepower for the car is very good. Should probably stay in the car then, safer. And 28 armor. So there we are. That's my starting point, and I will move this aside for now. And here is my map, and I will go to. I'll skip the intro. I'll just shortly recap for those who didn't watch the first 2 episodes. This is the future. This is in 2022. Well, this was written in 1985, so it was considered a long time in the future, almost 40 years. 40 years in the future, there is a virus has wiped out most of the world's population, and it has everything's broken down. Every administration, infrastructure, society, everything's broken down. And what happens in those cases, at least in lots of post-apocalyptic writing, is that you get 2 kinds of people. You get people who are trying to help each other and reform society, and you get the ones who are trying to kill everyone else because that's the way they are. And of course, in this world, it's a lot to do with cars, bikes, because these gangs, they move around with motorcycles usually, and of course you are working in a township called New Hope, a nice little town and outpost, I suppose you should call it, and you've been able to make a deal with a oil refinery near San Anglo, which is a bit further south, to get a delivery of 10,000 liters of petrol, which is a huge deal because it's such an important commodity, in exchange for some grains and seeds, of which your New Hope has a surplus at the moment. You have been asked to volunteer for this mission, and you think this is such an important thing that you want to do it. You've had a special car outfitted, a special interceptor that's been outfitted for the mission, with missiles, with machine guns, with a few other tricks up its sleeve, a few spare tires. You bring with you some credits and some medical kits. And that's you. And you are setting off. So, paragraph 1. The first thing to strike you as you cruise along the road is the speed with which everything has fallen into decay. You hadn't realized how much maintenance was needed to support civilization. All around, buildings are falling into ruin. Abandoned cars litter the roads in rusted disarray. Grass and weeds have grown rampant everywhere, with nobody to hold them back, and packs of dogs and other wild animals roam freely. You stop at a small town some 15 kilometers from New Hope and switch off your engine. Suddenly it is deathly silent, apart from the eerie howl of a dog somewhere down the street. You're tempted to get out of the car to explore, but realize that this is an unnecessary risk. You are about to start your engine again when suddenly the sound of a shotgun breaks the silence. If you wish to get out of the car to investigate, turn to 126. If you would rather drive out of the town, turn to 34. And of course, this is the howling dog is being shot by somebody with a shotgun, and he is a friendly. I've spoken to him before. Is a guy called Johnson, and he advises us not to stop at what is called Joe's Garage, I believe, which is coming up very shortly, because they don't have petrol. They're just trying to rob people there. So I'm going to skip that bit. I'm not going to investigate. I'm going to go to 34 and head on. You are soon out of town, zigzagging around wrecked cars and fallen trees along the road. Further ahead, you can see that the road joined the main highway south. There is a small filling station at the junction named Joe's Garage. You stop as you are intrigued by the hot rod parked around the side, looking clean and in running condition. A young girl suddenly comes out of the office, wearing a t-shirt and blue jeans. She smiles and says, "Hi, can I help you?" If you wish to talk to her, turn to 302. If you would rather drive up onto the highway, turn to 167. I will, again, just move on from here and go to 167. I will find out one day what actually happens at Joe's, but maybe what happens at Joe's stays at Joe's. I don't know. Despite the hazard of having to avoid abandoned cars, the highway is wide enough for you to gather plenty of speed. It's exciting to drive so freely without fear of being hauled in by the police for violating some traffic regulation or other. You smile as your speed reaches 190 kilometers per hour. That sounds very risky when you have roads that haven't been maintained properly, and debris could be all over the place, and bandits and whatnot, but there you go. But your joy is short-lived. You suddenly see a red Chevrolet, heavily reinforced with steel plating, coming straight towards you. Somebody is sitting in a small turret on the roof, a machine gunner. You think to yourself that maybe having to deal with the police in the old days wasn't so bad compared with what is coming at you now. You breathe in deeply and get ready to press the machine gun fire button. And a red Chevy. So we've got red Chevy 815, and my current car firepower is 12 and armor is 28, so I do have a little bit of an advantage. And he rolls first. He rolls 2, which means he is damaged by for 1d6. That's 4. He's down to 11. So slightly different rules in this one than in the fantasy game books, where you sort of do 2 damage every time. He rolls 5, which means I win basically that round as well. He takes 2 more damage. He rolls a 9. I rolled a 3, so that's me taking damage 1. He rolls 3. That's won't need to roll for myself there. I'll just roll his damage. He rolls a 9. I rolled a 7. That's him again. So that is down to 2. And 9 and 7. That is 4 more damage on him, and he is dead. So there we are. So I destroyed his vehicle, and I go to 188. Let's try to got an itch. I need to scratch, excuse me. There we are. You stop your interceptor to examine the burning wreck. Who were these people, and why did they attack you without warning? You shake your head and hit the accelerator, eager to reach your destination. You're passing a security truck and thinking about all the money inside it, which is now useless, when suddenly a voice comes through on your radio above the crackling static. It is one of New Hope's leaders. She tells you how a gang of bikers have just attacked New Hope, killing 8 people in the process. After a short battle, they were eventually beaten off. She warns you to be on the lookout for them, as they have kidnapped Sinclair, the council leader. You acknowledge the message and say goodbye. After an hour or so driving without any further incident, you notice that your petrol gauge is dropping. The interceptor is very heavy on petrol. Stop and pour the contents of the fuel canister into the tank. So this is the fuel canister we brought with us. And at the moment now we don't have any more. So realizing that you will have to find some more petrol soon. A few kilometers further and you know your luck has really run out. There must have been a car crash at the time of the disaster which caused a huge tailback of now abandoned cars. It is impossible to continue along the highway. You reverse back to the last exit and drive off the highway. You must decide which way to head along the road which crosses over it. If you wish to drive east, turn to 341. If you wish to drive west, turn to 66. Now, I know that if I turn west, I get to a place where there is a bridge that I can try to jump. That sounds a bit risky because I presume that would be using skill, wouldn't it? My skill isn't that high, but I might cheat. I'll see. I might just keep going. I'll go west. I'll go 66. Yes, I'm going to go 66 this time because I'm curious to see what is up that way. The road heads directly west and you are able to travel along it quickly as it is relatively free of obstacles. However, your easy drive is short-lived. The road comes to a river which it used to cross, but the drawbridge which spans the river is partly open, stopping you from driving across it. You judge that if you drive over it at about 180 kilometers per hour, the momentum should carry the interceptor across the gap to the far side, but then again it might not. If you wish to try to drive across the bridge, turn to 270. If you'd rather turn around and drive east, turn to 159. I'm going to try to jump the bridge, even though that's probably a foolhardy thing to do. You reverse your car to give yourself a long enough run up to the bridge. You tense slightly and the adrenaline starts to flow through your veins. The engine roars as you pump the accelerator. Then you suddenly release the clutch and screech away towards the bridge. You hit the bridge at 120 kilometers per hour and you watch the dial rise to 130 as the front wheels leave the ground. That doesn't sound like fast enough. Roll 2 dice. So that's a skill check. And 7, so it's less than my skill, so I didn't make that. I should do my mapping now. So test skill, and I'll just put fail down here. So 231, fail, and 70 succeed. So that is... So I'm going to go to 70. The wheels slam down on the far side of the bridge and you have to struggle with the steering wheel to keep the interceptor going in a straight line. You are across the bridge but traveling at high speed towards an overturned truck. Roll 2 dice. The total is the same as or less than your skill score, again. So let's test skill. I'll just choose blue for that, actually. Test skill again. And... 133, let's fail 133, and 62. 62, success. There we are. So again, we're rolling against 9 and we make it. So that is a success. So 62. You manage to control the speeding interceptor and swerve around the overturned truck. Turn to 151. Oops, wrong color. Let's see, 151. You drive off the bridge, heading west again. You soon come to a T-junction which offers you a choice of roads. You wish to keep driving west, turn to 179. If you would rather drive south, turn to 362. Okay, so south or west. Okay, so that is west 179, west 362, south. I'm going to try south, 362. The country road runs straight ahead far into the distance and you're able to make good headway, as it is relatively free from abandoned cars. But after an hour's driving at high speed, the road finally ends at the T-junction. If you wish to turn left, turn to 92. If you wish to turn right, turn to 153. So left, 92. I'm going to run out of space here on my map. Right, 153. Turn right. I'm going to turn right. You continue to make good headway along the country roads. The untended fields on both sides of the road have grown wild, and you wonder how long it will be before they are farmed again. The road soon ends at the T-junction, and you decide to turn left to head south towards San Anglo. Turn to 225. Okay, so that is that one of the locations I've been to before? Just double checking now because it just looks so much like one of the ones I've seen before. It's not quite, not any of the ones it looks like. No, it's not any of those. I presume there might be some sort of going back where I came from thing going on here as well at some point. So that's 225. This was, so I'm just going to 225 towards San Anglo. Okay. Maybe all roads lead to San Anglo. The road cuts through overgrown fields, but there are no obstructions on the road. You check your mileometer to see how far you've come and see that your petrol gauge is reading empty again. Oh. Oh. Does that mean this is the end already? If you picked up a full fuel canister recently, turn to 197. If you have not picked one up, turn to 364. Okay, so no 364 and yes 197. And that means that's actually the end of the game again. A few kilometers further down the road, the engine starts to cough and splutter. Finally, it jerks to a halt, and your worst fears are realized. You have run out of petrol. There are no buildings and no signs of life, and you realize that your mission is over. You have failed and must try to get back to New Hope on foot, perhaps, to try to reach San Anglo another time. Right, so that does not work. So let's just do a, because this was so short, let's just do what we used to do in the old days. You backtrack a little bit and see if there's any place you could have done differently and see what might be there. So let's, for instance, say instead of going south here, we go west to 179. And standing in the middle of the road, waving his arms frantically, is a man wearing denim jeans and jacket. A motorcycle helmet covers his head. If you wish to stop to talk to him, turn to 142. If you'd rather drive past him, turn to 215. So we've got 215 drive or 142 stop. Now, of this motorcycle guy, I don't know, they're usually bandits, aren't they? I'm going to just drive past and go to 215. You travel west looking for a major road going south, but a decision is made for you when... Is that it? Nothing about the motorcycle guy? Didn't try to shoot at me or anything? Ah, okay. You travel west looking for a major road going south, but the decision is made for you when you arrive at a solid tailback of cars just beyond the left turning. The impassable blockade of cars and trucks stretches into the distance as far as you can see. all of them long since abandoned. If you wish to head south, turn to 149. So let's see, where can I go with these ones now? Let's use the blue one for this one. Okay, let's go over there. So 149 south or 10. Stop and look inside some of the abandoned vehicles. So I'll just might examine. So there we are. I'm going to look inside the vehicles, see if there's anything of interest there. Whatever caused the tailback certainly created havoc among the owners of the vehicles. Cars appear to have locked into other cars as frustrated drivers try to ram their way out of the blockage. Only to make it worse, you squeeze between the vehicles looking for something useful. You find a crowbar on the truck and use it to force open the boots of several cars. Moving up the line of cars, you suddenly panic at the thought of the interceptor being left unguarded. If you wish to run back to your car, turn to 264. So 264, return, I'll call that. Or search 359. Search, I think I'll be fine, wouldn't I? So I'm going to go 359. I'll keep looking. I'm not worried. I think you're just trying to scare me now. Inside the boot of an old Ford, you find something which makes you whoop for joy. Whoop, whoop, whoop. A full canister of petrol. Oh, yes. I need one of those. So, petrol. So, fuel, I've got one can at the moment. I'll probably need more soon, but there you go. That's a good beginning. Add one luck point. Well, I don't need to add one luck point because I'm full. Carrying the crowbar and fuel canister, you leap across the roofs of the cars to hurry back to the interceptor. Luckily, it is still where you left it, and you are soon on the road again. So, crowbar. Also got a crowbar. Just make a note of that. And 149 is next. So this is +1 petrol, +1 crowbar. And going there, that's heading south. There we are. 149. And I'm just double checking now. There's no 149 we've been to before, because I do believe there should be some crossovers here at some point, most likely. The country road runs straight ahead far into the distance, and you're able to make good headway, as it is relatively free from abandoned cars. After an hour's driving in high speed, you arrive at a T-junction. If you wish to continue driving south, turn to 225. Well, that's over here. Wish to turn left and head east, turn to 114. So, we've got 114, which is east, or south, which is towards San Anglo over here. And of course, now I know that I have fuel, so I can do that. But because I can do that, and that's probably the right way to go, I'm also a bit curious what might be possible to find in 114. So I'm going to turn east, turn left to go east, and have a look. You continue to make good headway along the country roads. The untended fields on both sides of the road have grown wild, and you wonder if they will ever be ploughed again. Haven't I seen this one before, or is this some of these have very similar. Still wrapped up in your thoughts, you pass by a turning on your left, but ignore it as you do not want to go north. Turn to 92. And hang on. 92 is over here. So let's see if I can make this clear now. Just do a red line just to make it obvious. Just pass by here. over there. Okay. So 92. This map is not going to work, is it? I'll definitely need to tidy that up. You drive along way east, passing only one junction on the left, a dirt track leading north. At last, you come to a T-junction where you turn right in order to drive south towards San Anglo. Turn to 272. And again, I should have a quick look and see if there are any 272s anywhere. Doesn't appear to be. So I am here now. I'm going to 272. The road cuts through overgrown fields, but there are no obstructions. You check your mileometer to see how far you've come and notice that the petrol gauge is reading empty again. If you have picked up a full fuel canister during your journey, turn to 323, which I have. If you have not picked one up, turn to 364. So, fuel, question mark. No, that's convenient. It's right there on my map now. And yes, it's 323. Yes. So that is one can of fuel down, I presume. 323. Now, the refueling point I got to the other time was 180, so okay, 323. You brake to a halt and get out of the car to empty the fuel canister into the petrol tank. The canister does not hold much petrol, and you realize that you will have to be on the lookout for more if you hope to reach San Anglo. By the time you set off again, it is early evening, and you watch the setting sun through the right-hand window. Soon it will be dark, and there is a new decision to make. If you wish to drive off the road to sleep the night inside the Interceptor, turn to 276. If you'd rather drive through the night, turn to 42. Didn't I have this one last time, or is that a different one? Looks like they are. Must have been sleeping car. That's over here, so okay, that's a different place. So we've got so 42 drive, or 276 sleep. I think I'm going to sleep in the car, actually. At night you can't see anything, so people can see you really well. So I'm going to 276. You pull off the road and park the Interceptor behind a row of bushes. When you turn the engine off, you suddenly realize how quiet it is outside and wonder if anybody heard you stop. You decide not to go to sleep until it is totally dark. Now, it looks like they recycled a lot of paragraphs for this one because there are so many paragraphs here that are exactly the same in different places. But I'm not sure if you're actually able to get to both of them in the same playthrough yet. So I'll find that out when I've done this properly at some point. You decide not to go to sleep until it's totally dark and spend a long time eating your makeshift evening meal. When you are finally convinced that nobody is now likely to find you, you stretch out and go to sleep. In the morning, you wake early, feeling refreshed. I have 2 stamina points, didn't need that. But I'll make a note of it, which I always should, actually. You waste no time and drive back on the road, head south, turn to 128. Now the big question is, do we have a 128 anywhere on our maps? And it does not look like it. No 128 as far as I can see. Yes, so we are going to 128. Just as you are beginning to enjoy the freedom of the open road in the early morning light, you are suddenly startled by the sight in your rearview mirror of a vehicle closing up on you. It is an armored car, and you see a jet of flame flash from its gun barrel as a shell is fired at you. It explodes to your left, rocking the car, but you are able to keep control. Will you drop iron spikes, release an oil spray, carry out a high-speed handbrake turn, and face the armored car? So we've got 3 choices. 312 spikes. 165 oil. Or 77. 10. I don't know. I'll try the iron spikes. I haven't tried iron spikes before, so I'm gonna go, let's see, 312. You press the button on the dashboard which releases the canister. The iron spikes are spread all over the road and you watch the armored car drive towards them in your mirror. Test your locked. If so, we've got test lock. And let's see, 41 or 181. Lucky, unlucky. And my luck was 8. I am lucky. 181. You watch with satisfaction as the front tires of the armored car, must remember to remove the spikes now, as the front tires of the armored car are shredded by the spikes, forcing the driver to brake hard. You accelerate away, leaving behind the stranded armored car. Turn to 47. And that is 47. No 47s anywhere. Okay. Looks like the map for this one is going to be a slightly complex affair to sort out, but I'll do it one day. As the morning wears on, it becomes very hot and you notice a change in the vegetation. The further south you travel, the overgrown fields turn into scrubland and it won't be long before you are driving across the desert. A few miles further down the road, you arrive at a major junction. If you wish to turn right to head west, turn to 117. If you'd rather keep driving south, turn to 23. And now there's a 23 over there. That means that I have missed this bit here where I was able to rescue council leader Sinclair. So maybe that is the best way to go. It's actually not over here, but yeah, the way I went the first time. So, so that either turning south, 23, let's see, I'm just gonna or 117 turn west, so 117 west. I'm going to go west, see if I can sort of catch up on some of the things that it looks like I might have missed here. See, this is from the turning east to go to 23 here, and then it's, so yeah. So maybe I'm approaching it from a different side, so I'm going to go to 117. You travel about 80 kilometers and then the road ends at the T-junction. You decide to turn left in the direction of San Anglo. Turn to 189, so that is here. So there is no choice anymore. I'm gonna go over there. Because I haven't been there, so that is nice. And I'm going to go to 189. I'm just going to make a new one for 189 over here. 189. It's 189 from 303 or from also connects to 117. Just make a note of that. 23 was connected from 47 and 140. I'm going to run out of petrol again, aren't I? Leading off the road on your right is a rough road which is marked with several sets of tire tracks. The tracks look as if they were made quite recently. If we wish to drive down the rough road, turn to 24, because interesting things may be on rough roads. Further stay on course for San Angelo and turn to 207. Now, the thing is, of course, that you can't just go straight for San Angelo because you'll run out of petrol. I need to find petrol on the way. So, and therefore, I am going to check out the rough road. So 24. Rough road. You drive along the bumpy road until you come to a wooden gate which bars the way. The gate is covered with barbed wire, and a heavily tattooed, bare-chested man sits casually astride it, brandishing a machine gun. Is that a machine gun? I mean, come on, that's not a machine gun. That's a submachine gun at best. In the gruff voice, he says, "I don't recognize you. Which gang are you from?" "Black Rats," you reply on the spur of the moment. "Never heard of them," the man replies. "Still, we'll race against anybody. Follow the road down to the burnt-out house and you'll see the other cars parked there. The first race will start in about 5 minutes. There are some pretty heavy bets being laid today. Should be lots of fun. If you wish to drive through the gate, turn to 300. If you would rather reverse quickly and drive back to the main road, turn to 59. Okay. So we've got 59, turn back, or 300, drive through. Well, obviously, I have to find out what this is about, so this might be a glorious way to die as well, somewhere. I'm sure there must be. Following the instructions of the tattooed man, you drive down the dirt road to the burnt-out house. To the burnt-out house. 4 customized cars are parked in a row, each sprouting a multitude of weapons. A group of people stands in heated discussion, although they all turn to watch you park. You walk over to the group and ask them about the forthcoming race. A small man with a scar running the length of his face smiles and says, "Rookie, huh? Never been to a blitz race before. Listen, it's quite simple. Challenge any of us to race. You have to bet 200 creds, but if you win, the prize is a big can of petrol. If you win, that is." The man then bursts into laughter and the others join in. If you wish to challenge him to a blitz race, turn to 240. If you would rather just spectate, turn to 224. Well, I'm definitely going to have to race this guy because I'm going to be running out of petrol soon, so it's do or die, isn't it? So 224, spectate, or 240, challenge. And I'm going to go to 240. Now, my skill isn't very good now, so that's going to be a bit rubbish, but at least my firepower is good. You take 200 credits out of your pocket and thrust them towards the man with the scar. He snatches them from you and says, "There's a sucker born every minute. Get in your car, let's do it." We race for 8 kilometers down the dirt road, turn around at the White House and race back. And remember, there are no holds barred in a blitz race except bullets and rockets. Climb inside the interceptor, start it up and crawl forward to the starting line. Your opponent draws alongside you in his bright yellow Ford. See that he is armed with 2 machine guns and a grenade launcher. Oh, he said no bullets and no rockets. Didn't say anything about grenades, did he? A girl standing in between the 2 cars raises a white towel into the air and then suddenly pulls it down to signal the start of the race. Roll 2 dice if the total is the same as or less than your skill. So we got a skill check. And so 148 fail and 3 success. Right. Skill 9. Managed to do it. So that is a success. And I'm going to 3. There will be more skill rolls before this race is over. Or luck. You stamp down on the accelerator and release the clutch at the same time. The back wheels spin, throwing up dust, but you race off ahead of the yellow Ford. In the rearview mirror, you see the anger on your opponent's face as he drives to the limit along the narrow road to catch up with you. The Ford must be supercharged. It accelerates up behind you and rams your car at high speed. Test your luck. So we've got a luck test. Hang on. Have I tested luck before? No, I haven't. So this is my first luck test today. That's what I double check now because I must make sure I reduce my luck every time I do it. It's easy to forget. So test luck, and we've got lucky 3-5, lucky, and unlucky 2-4-7, unlucky. Okay, so I'm testing one up, and that is against 8. And I am lucky. My luck is reduced to 7 for next time. And I'm going to 354. The Interceptor swerves to the left, but you steer into the skid and keep the car under control. You have to think quickly to decide what tactics to use. Will you accelerate away or brake hard? Interesting choice. Now, I did have very good acceleration, didn't he? But if he's in front of me, I might be, I don't know. I don't know what to do now. So anyway, so 27 brake, 183 accelerates. I'll try to accelerate for the moment. No, hang on. If I brake, no, I'm not gonna. I want to let him. I'll accelerate. Oh. The Ford driver is anticipating your breakaway and calmly presses the button of the grenade launcher. The grenade flies over the Interceptor and bounces along the road in front of you. Will accelerate over it, turn to 43, or brake hard. Ooh, this is getting a bit hairy. So 43, accelerate, or 152, brake. I'm gonna live dangerously and I'm gonna accelerate over it and see if I can get past in time. You breathe in deeply as the Interceptor passes over the grenade. Test your luck. So I'm rolling against 7 now and didn't make it. Oh, joy. And so if you are lucky, turn to 175. So let's see, test luck. 175, lucky, 201, unlucky. Unlucky. Suddenly there is a dull thud and the Interceptor rocks from side to side. Roll 2 dice and deduct a total from the Interceptor's armor. Oh, 5, that could have gone much worse. 23. If you survive the explosion, turn to 266. Let's see, unlucky, so that's armor minus 2d6. And alive, turn to 266. So 266. Right, 266. At least I'll be a bit ahead now, wouldn't I? Even if I took some damage. Oh, no. The Ford races past you as you struggle to keep the damaged car going. Oh, that's not fair, is it? As you're not allowed to use your forward-firing weapons, you decide to try to ram the Ford. Turn to 139. Well, I suppose there's no choice then. 139. The Ford slows down for a bend in the road, but you keep your foot down hard on the accelerator. You crash into the back of the Ford, but only succeed in damaging the Interceptor. Lose 2 armor points. 21. The Ford has steel-plated crash bars built to withstand ramming. Realize that you will have to overtake the Ford in order to use your rear missile weapons. As though he has read your mind, the Ford's driver starts to swing the car from side to side to stop you passing. It will take considerable maneuvering skills to pass him. Roll 2 dice. So that is a skill test. And 287, fail, and 8 succeed. So a skill test against 9, and we did it. So that is 8. You make as if to pass the ford on its left-hand side, but suddenly swerve to overtake on the right. It is a successful maneuver, and you are able to accelerate away from your opponent. Turn to 340. That's going to move a bit down here now. 340. You decide that it is time to use a weapon against a chasing car, so you look at the buttons on the dashboard. If you wish to empty a canister of iron spikes onto the road, turn to 318. If you'd rather spray a film of oil over the road, turn to 213. I'm thinking that, I don't know, this is not a proper road, so maybe oil isn't that effective. Then again, he might have reinforced tires, so the spikes might not be that effective. But it is a sort of dirt road. I think the probably the spikes would be work better. 318 spikes, 213 oil. So I'm going to go with the spikes. Yeah, I'll cross them off when I get to the next bit. You press the button on the dashboard which releases the canister. You watch it bounce along the road as the Ford speeds towards it. Test your luck. Excuse me. So 63. So test luck. 63 lucky. 98 unlucky. Considering how elaborate this car race is, it's obvious that this is one of the places that you're really supposed to go, I think, in order to win the game. If you miss this bit and if you don't win the race, I'm sure that you don't have enough petrol. That's when you run out of it. So this is where you're meant to get the petrol, it seems like. Yes, testing luck, and I'm rolling against... yes, I forgot to reduce my luck last time I tested for luck, so I am down to 6, which means I may have to cheat now. We'll see. Nope, didn't have to cheat. I actually managed to do it. I desperately need some more luck points soon. And I am lucky, 63. The canister bursts open and spreads iron spikes all over the road, but the Ford is equipped with a powerful underbody air jet, which blows all but one of the iron spikes off the road. Oh, come on. The only damage done is a slow puncture to one of its heavy-duty tires, which slows it down just enough for you to accelerate out of range of its grenade launcher for the moment. Well, at least something came out of it. Up ahead you see the White House where you must turn around. You jam on the brakes and turn the steering wheel sharply to the left. You reverse back a few meters in a cloud of churned up dust, and then slam the gear stick forward into first to race back to the finishing line. The Ford makes an equally swift U-turn and is soon just behind you. It powers alongside you and the driver pulls down on his steering wheel in order to sideswipe the interceptor. He looks set to determine the outcome of his duel by ramming. So now we got a combat. A successful ram will reduce the car's armor by 2. If you survive 4 attack rounds, turn to 334. And of course I will survive that regardless, but let's see how that goes. So we've got a Ford with 816 and me with 1221. So he rolls 12. I roll 8, so that's me down by 19, and that's 1 round. He rolls 8, I roll 3, so that's me again. Oh, come on. 2 rounds. 11. 9, at least I got him this time. And 1 more round. He rolls a 7, I roll a 3. That is a draw. That is an attack round, isn't it? Yes, so that's the attack rounds over. Let's see, so now I'm on 63, and there is, let's see, let's call it side swipe. So 8, 16, and an asterisk because of special rules. 334 is the next one. There is probably about a kilometer to go before you cross the finishing line, and you are still locked in combat alongside the fort. Up ahead, the road narrows to one lane to cross a stone bridge. Ooh, that sounds like an exciting thing. Spanning a stream. If you wish to keep your accelerator pressed to the floor, turn to 35. If you would rather ease off the accelerator and allow the fort to take the lead, turn to 239. Should I let him take the lead? Because he is slower than me. Maybe I'll be able to bump him off at the bridge. So let's see, accelerator, so 35 or 239 brick. Slow down. I'm going to try slowing down now and see if I can take that to my advantage. 239. The Ford races ahead over the bridge as you press down on the accelerator again to try to catch up. You see the finishing line ahead no more than 200 meters away and realize that the race is lost. The Ford crosses the finishing line a car's length ahead of the Interceptor, lose 1 lock point and turn to 232. Oh dear. Okay. 232. So that is -1 lock, and probably not a good idea, and go to 232. A small group of spectators gathers round the fort to congratulate the driver. You drive past him slowly, waving in salute of his victory, but do not stop. You are bitterly disappointed at losing the race and are keen to drive back to the main road to head south. Turn to 207. Now, I think maybe that if I don't win this race, I am going to lose the whole game. So let's just try to pretend as if I made the other option there and accelerate over the bridge. So I'm going to go to 35. I'm going to play it a bit old school now. It is a battle of nerves between yourself and the driver of the Ford. The two cars race abreast towards the bridge. Roll 1 die and add the number to your skill. Make a note of the total. Roll the die again and add the number to the Ford driver's skill of 8. If your total is the same as or greater than that of your opponent, turn to 379. So that is a special kind of, let's see, compare skill 8. So 1 die, 5. Okay, that's good. And he rolls a 6. That means it's equal. Because mine is 9. So that means, let's see, so 379. 379. Success and 51 fail. So 379. When you're only a few meters from the bridge, the Ford driver's courage deserts him and he brakes hard, allowing you to cross ahead of him. Frustrated by your iron nerve, your opponent desperately tries to pass you before you cross the finishing line. The acceleration of the Ford is blistering because of his supercharger, and the cars are soon locked bumper to bumper. You see the finishing line ahead no more than 200 meters away and realize that the Ford will pull out of your slipstream any second now to pass you. You must block the Ford. Will you swerve to the left or to the right? Okay, so 20 left and 80 right. That is such a hard decision to make now. I'm not going to roll a die and say 1 to 3 is left and 4 to 6 is right. So I'm going to go left. It's just random, isn't it? 20. It's one of those that when you play it again, you'll know, of course. Suddenly, the Ford swings out to the left to try to overtake. So that is the correct decision. But you have anticipated the driver's move and block him successfully. Add 1 luck point, which I desperately need now. Oh, actually, I went back 1 step, didn't I? So I'm not technically on 6 now. You maintain your lead, and as you cross the finishing line, the Interceptor is ahead of the Ford by half a car's length. You have won the Blitz race. Well, with a bit of cheating, of course, but yeah, I won it. Fair and square, almost. Excuse me. Yes, so I am going to go to 111. A small crowd of spectators gathers around the Interceptor to congratulate you. The Ford driver climbs out of his car, slams the door shut, and stomps away. Looks like he's a bad loser, says one of the others, and it's the first time I've ever seen him lose. The girl who started the race hands you your prize of the can of petrol. So we've got another can of petrol. So 1 can again. Which you pack inside the Interceptor. It'll be about half an hour before the next race starts, so we're going to sit down over by the trees. Will you join us? She says. You decline her offer as you are keen to carry on with your mission. They walk away, leaving you to check over the Interceptor for any serious damage. While you are bending over the engine, you feel a tap on the shoulder. You look up and see the tattooed man who was sitting on the wooden gate. Which gang did you say you belonged to? He asks in a hostile tone. Will you reply? Well, I did say black rats, didn't I? Good one. So we've got cats, 44, rats, 156, and bats, 228. I did say rats, I'll just go with the rats, 156. I thought that's what you said, but it's just that I've never heard of them before. I hope they aren't all as good at racing as you are. I expect I'll see you again. I'm going to join the others now, says the tattooed man. Much to your relief, he walks away, leaving you to drive off down the rough road to the main road where you turn right to head south. Turn to 207. And that is almost how it's done. And I am heading again towards San Anglo, and this time I've got a can of petrol, so I can get sort of 1 step further along. You flash past the handwritten sign which reads, Pete makes engines sweet, 1 mile to the left. You slow down as you approach a stone building with a corrugated iron workshop attached to it, which has the word Spark Plug Pete's painted on a billboard on top of the roof. I don't know, maybe that's this guy here. There are a few cars parked on the forecourt. As you come to a halt, a thin, pale man appears from the workshop wearing an oily blue mechanic's overall and a baseball cap. He waves and says, nice car. Pretty fast, I guess. But not as fast as old Pete can make it. If you're interested, I like payments in credits and goods. I'll do a good job for you. So, what happened to the credits, by the way? Because I wagered credits. Did I win any credits? I think there's a... Did I forget to mention that? Was that the price for... Because I'm supposed to have credits now if I won. Hang on. Let's just see what it said at the beginning of the race now. So, go to 300. Have to bet 200 credits. Okay. Okay, so I don't get my credits back then, presumably. I don't have any credits in that case. Payment in goods as well. Okay. I like payment in credits and goods. I'll do a good job for you. If we should stop to let the mechanic modify your engine, turn to 28. If you would rather, so let's see. So we've got 28 mod or 88 south. Do you have any 88s here? No, I don't think we would. No. I'm going to see what he's got to do, what he can do with it, because I'll probably need some modifications. You drive onto Pete's forecourt and park the interceptor inside the workshop. Pete quickly examines the engine and says that the acceleration of the interceptor could be improved by the addition of a supercharger. Could have used that in the race. He tells you that the cost will be 100 credits plus some medicine. If you're able to and wish to give Pete 100 credits and 2 packs from your medkit, turn to 131. If you want to, you'll have to decline yourself. Okay, so I don't have 100 credits now. There was a place in the beginning, wasn't there, where I could get 100 credits. So obviously I meant to... I didn't make a note of my map. So you're supposed to... Obviously the correct routes through this game is to go where the place where you pick up 100 credits, which was somewhere in the beginning. Maybe it was here somewhere. And then you get to the race. And then you... So, yeah. Right. So that is... Let's just to go over here now. No, so 141. Let's see, 141 pay. That is minus 100 credits and minus 2 med packs. But I can't do that now, so I will have to go to 88 and head south. It's not long before the green vegetation gives way to more barren terrain, with tufts of dry grass dotted on top of the stony brown earth. You soon arrive at the edge of the desert, where the road is joined by another main road leading east. If you wish to turn left, turn to 177. If you would rather keep going south, turn to 271. So now we've got... We've got 271, which is over here, or 177, which is going off main road. So we are 177, that is left. I'm going to go 271 actually this time. But now I know that I can get here and I got petrol for it. The landscape turns to reddish brown as you drive further into the desert. The road runs south, straight as an arrow, and is virtually clear of abandoned cars. As you drive along, something you recognize catches your eye. It is an overturned interceptor, which must have veered off the road and rolled over after its driver died at the wheel. If you wish to stop to see if there are any spares worth taking, turn to 166. And I did do this before and there was one. I'd rather keep on driving, so I'm going to check for spares. But there is a spare tire there, a spare wheel actually. There is one wheel in reasonable condition remaining on the interceptor. The tire is flat but can easily be inflated again with a can of flat you fix. It does not take long to remove the wheel and store it inside your own car. So I've done that. So I've got spare wheels 3 actually. If you wish to look inside the crash cart, on to 253. Now, what happened here? I had to use a medkit. I lost skill and stamina because there was a snake in there. I'm not going in there again, so I'm going to continue the journey south. In your rearview mirror, you see a motorbike and sidecar steadily closing up on you. The passenger is holding a machine gun mounted on the nose of the sidecar. He reminds you of early pilots with his goggles and a leather flying cap. Except in the picture, that's not what he does. But both men are wearing backscarves over their mouths to keep the wind blowing sand out of their lungs. When they are no more than 50 meters behind, to keep the wind-blown sand out of their lungs. Yes. When they are no more than 50 meters behind, they signal their intention by firing a burst from the machine gun at the interceptor. Lose 1 armor point. Will you drop a canister of iron spikes if you have one, and release a spray of oil? Return fire with the interceptor's machine gun. Now, I do Hang on, did I use spikes? Spikes. I used spikes twice, didn't I? So I got one less spikes there. I did use oil last time. That worked really well, didn't it? So I'm going to go with the oil. Use one of my oil cans for this. I'm going to 261. No, hang on. That's not 261. 361. You press the release button, which empties a canister of oil in a thick spray over the road. The motorcycle combination runs over the oil at high speed and skids off the road. It rolls over in the sand and disappears from view as you drive away. Turn to 96, and that's when we get a question whether we've got petrol or not, and which I do this time. The kilometers roll by and the petrol gauge is reading almost empty again. If you are carrying a full can of petrol inside Interceptor, turn to 180, yes. If you have not acquired one recently, turn to 364, no. I'm going to 180. So with a bit of cheating, I managed to get further than last time now. Sorry about that. Stop the car and pour the contents of the can into the petrol tank. You know that you do not have enough fuel to reach San Anglo, and wonder where you will find some more in this desert wilderness. It is a depressing thought which weighs on your mind as you set off again. Shouldn't you have brought more petrol to start with? Turn to 243. Okay, so we've got 243 next. On the right-hand side of the road, you see an abandoned police car, half covered by a drift of sand. We should stop to see if there is anything of use to you inside the car. Turn to 109. If you would rather keep driving south, turn to 49. So 49. Drive. And 109. I'm going to examine this car. So I'll go to 109. Whoever was driving the car must have taken everything with them when they set off on foot after running out of petrol. You walk around to the back of the car and try to open the boot, but you find that it is locked. If you have a crowbar and wish to prise the boot open, turn to 277. I do have a crowbar. Crowbar. Question mark. And yes, is 277 and no 49. Because having a crowbar doesn't mean that what's in the boot is going to be helpful to me or even safe. I'll check anyway. The boot flies open and inside you find a bulletproof vest. Add 1 luck point and 1 skill point. Okay. Is that a permanent skill point? Because bulletproof vest, I don't know. No, probably not. Bulletproof. Okay. Is skill possible to increase beyond the original when you get stuff like that? I don't think so. Yeah, no. Right, so bulletproof vest anyway. Okay. So that is +1 skill, +1 luck. That's a good catch. And drive on, turn to 49. Oh, that's 49 there, and that's 49 there. Parked in the middle of the road ahead of you is a bizarre-looking vehicle. It looks like a pickup truck, which has been converted to resemble a Roman chariot. It even has scythes attached to its wheels. Well, that's not very Roman chariot, is it? A huge bare-chested man wearing a gladiatorial helmet which covers his face is standing at the back of the truck, holding on to a double-barreled machine gun. He signals to his driver to drive forward into battle. You have no choice but to fight this new-age gladiator. That's a bit of fantasy for you as well here. Chariots. So firepower 9, armor 15, vehicle combat. So we've got chariots. 9:15. And my current is 12:20, so I'll just make a note of that here. And so he's got 9, he rolls 2 dice, he rolls a 4, I roll a 7, so that is good, so he goes down by 5, and he rolls 8, I roll 8, he goes down 4 more armor, he rolls 6, I roll 10, he goes down 1 hit point to 5. He rolls a 6, I roll a 6, he goes down another, come on. He rolls an 8, I roll a 5. That is a draw. He rolls a 6, I roll an 8, he goes down 3 more hit points, got 1 left. He rolls a 4, I roll a 10, he is dead. 91. Win. You press on south as quickly as possible and switch on the radio, hoping to establish contact with San Anglo. However, no voices are audible above the crackling static. You decide to leave it on anyway, in case somebody tries to make contact with you. After driving a further 15 kilometers, you come to another junction in the road. Somebody has left a sign there which reads engine and body repairs in crude writing and shows an arrow pointing east. If you wish to turn left to head east, turn to 230. If you'd rather keep going south, turn to 301. And now I'm a bit worried about petrol now if I keep going south. So 230, that is east. 301 is south. I'm going to check that out. 230. Where was I? I was... Yes, I was going to that place that claimed to be repairing cars. So set back about 30 meters from the road is a small white building which is completely surrounded by cars in various stages of assembly. Wheels, doors, bumpers, axles, engines, gearboxes, and sets are strewn everywhere, and in the middle of it all is a man working away at one car. He is busy using an oxyacetylene torch on a door panel, causing sparks to fly everywhere. He is so engrossed in his work that he doesn't hear you arrive. We should talk to him about repairing the interceptor. Turn to 15. If you would rather drive on, turn to 259. Now, so let's see. So 259 drive or 15 repair. So I hope he doesn't get too startled now. Well, I don't know. I'll have a look at. I'll ask him. Let's just check. So I'll go to 15. You walk over to the man and call out to him. He calmly turns off the torch and says, "This is no job to be doing in the desert heat. Still, most people leave me to get on with it and don't cause me any trouble. I don't take sides and I'll repair anybody's vehicle. If you want me to fix the damage on your car, it will cost you 200 credits. If you can afford the price and wish to have your car repaired, turn to 169. So, where am I supposed to get all these credits from anyway? So minus 200 if you want it repaired. That's probably the wrong place for it. Let's see. So 169, and that is minus 200 credits. Or set off east again, 259. Oops, that's not very clear, is it? 259. I'll just have to keep going then. There is a place to repair the car, which is good to know. But 200 credits again, so maybe one has to make a choice between getting an upgrade or a repair, possibly. Anyway, ahead in the distance looms a range of hills. As you arrive at the foot of the hills, you see that the road passes under them via a tunnel. Well, that sounds a bit scary. Unfortunately, there is a bus blocking the entrance. Stop the car and walk up to the bus to see whether or not it can be started and moved out of the way. The driver's door suddenly opens and a masked man jumps down onto the road pointing a gun at you. To pass through this tunnel, you must either pay me a toll of 200 credits or engage me in a pistol duel, he says in a very matter-of-fact tone. So it looks like you will be having 200 credits to spend this side of the tunnel, and you'll have to either spend it on the tunnel, the repairs, or the upgrade. If you wish to pay the toll, turn to 369. So let's see. So drive. So toll 369 or duel 291. Obviously, it's going to be the duel. The masked man reaches into the cabin of the bus and brings out a mahogany box. Inside are 2 magnificent pistols. He places 1 bullet in each hand and says, "Choose your weapon." You pick up 1 pistol and balance it in your hand to get a feel for its weight. You both then stand back to back, and the man tells you to walk 10 paces, turn, and fire when ready. You breathe in deeply and count out loud the 10 paces walked. You then turn and see the masked man with his pistol pointing straight at you. Both of you fire at once. Carry out 1 attack round using the shooting rules. If you survive the duel, turn to 208. Okay, so... Okay. Duelist 9. Special rules. And 208 if you survive, which I will do regardless. There's no insta-death on gunfights, so 208. Survive. So, I got a skill of 9. He's got a skill of 9. He rolls a 7. I roll a 7. Which means we miss each other, actually, which is fine. The man tells you that it has been an honor fighting you in such a civilized manner. He goes on to say that after the road has passed through the tunnel, it then winds through a twisting canyon and you should be on the lookout for landslides. You thank the strange man for his advice and drive into the tunnel, once he has reversed the bus out of the way. Sure enough, you find yourself driving along the winding road through the canyon. Turn to 196, and I think this is a good time to go to another sheet of paper. 208 here, and then I'm going to go to 196. 196. Okay. Heeding the man's advice, you keep a wary eye out for falling rocks and drive through the canyon very slowly. Suddenly you hear an ominous rumbling sound ahead. Steer around a sharp bend and see a landslide in progress with rocks and boulders crashing down onto the road. It soon stops and you're able to continue as the road is not completely blocked. That was lucky. 351. The road eventually leads out of the canyon, continuing straight on as far as the eye can see. You check your compass and see that you are traveling south once again. However, you have only driven for a few kilometers when you are forced to stop by a blockade of 2 cars parked across the road. 2 armed men in leather uniforms approach you on foot and tell you that the only way you will be allowed to drive any further south is to win a speed race along the straight road. This is where I could have used that supercharger. Against their ace driver. If you lose the race, you will be forced to turn back. Suddenly a car draws up alongside the interceptor. Recognize the classic car of last century immediately. It is an E-type Jaguar. Sitting in the driver's seat is a thin man with short black hair. He looks very self-assured and says, "Hi, my name's Leonardi. Too bad you are driving that old trash can, but good luck anyway." The 2 cars blocking the road are moved aside and you see several more cars beyond them lining the road. A man appears with a flag ready to start the race. He lowers it sharply and the race begins while you are still trying to grasp what is happening. The E-Type screeches away slightly ahead of you. If you've had a supercharger fitted to your engine, turn to 210, so maybe that is what you're supposed to have then. If you have not had one fitted, turn to 358. So, supercharger. Oh, supercharger. Question mark. And no, yes. That is 358 or 210. I have definitely not had a supercharger, so I'm going to go to 358. That doesn't sound like it's going to be a good ending for me. Roll one die alternately for the E-Type and then for the Interceptor. Continue rolling until one car reaches a total of 24 to cross the finishing line first. Okay, so we get an advantage with the supercharger, but it's not necessary. So that is good. Let's see, roll. I'll just put there, and then just have to look that up. And then it's 54 win, 322 lose. And I presume that if you have a supercharger, you might still be able to lose as well. Now, so if I don't have a supercharger, it sounds like we're on equal terms, which I suppose is all right. One die alternately. What else is right? Two die at the same time because I've got different colors now. So the blue one is mine, the orange one is his, and we want to get to 24. So I'll just make a note of it here as we go along. So me and him, M and H, why not? So blue one is me, and I roll. So we got 3, 1, 4, 4, the 7, 5, 2, 2. Quite an equal race. I'm a little bit ahead now. 2, 5, 11, 12. He's a bit ahead. 5, 1. I'm pulling ahead again. 6, 1. Ooh. 3, 2, and that is me at 25 and him at 16. Well, that's what happens when you're driving an ancient car. I won the race fair and square, so I didn't have to cheat there. But I think I would have left it there if that was the end of it. I won, so going to 54 now. You do not stop to celebrate your victory in case Leonardo is a bad loser. He does not try to follow you and gradually fades from view behind you. You pass an articulated truck which looks as if it has only recently been parked. You wish to stop and examine the truck, turn to 104. So if you rather drive on, so 118, drive, or 104, stop. I'm curious. Curiosity killed the cat and all that, but I'm curious and I will have a stop and a look and see if there's anything interesting here. There is nothing of use inside the cabin and its wagon is empty. You automatically tap the petrol tank to see if there is any fuel left in it and are surprised to discover that there is. The tank is made of reinforced steel and you wonder how you can extract the petrol. If you have a length of plastic tubing, turn to 306. Oh, okay, so you are able to get sort of tools for siphoning off things. I'm actually wondering that the first time I went to a place, there was all these cars standing along, and why don't we have siphoning equipment? And of course, that should be standard. It's just simple tube and some cans. So this is the place. If I don't have plastic tubing, that means I'm probably going to run out of petrol soon, and this will have been where I was supposed to get more. So, plastic tubing. This is probably soon the end of my adventure, and I will have to go back and find out where to get the plastic tubing, which I haven't seen yet. So, plastic tubing, question mark. And yes, 306. No. 187. So I'm going to go to 187. You do not have anything with which to siphon the petrol out of the tank and have no alternative but to carry on south. Well, could have improvised. I mean, you could just punch a hole in it and, well, it was reinforced, wasn't it? Ah, well. The miles slip by and your petrol gauge once again reads almost empty. If you have filled your petrol canister recently, turn to 99. If you do not have any fuel left, turn to 364, the usual 364. I was right. You do need to get the plastic tubing in order to get any further now. And so 99, so 19, oh, so we got fuel, question mark. And 99 is yes. And 364, the usual place. 364, no. We all know 364. We've been there a few times now. Let's just do it again for old time's sake. A few kilometers further down the road, the engine starts to cough and splutter. Finally, it jerks to a halt and your worst fears are realized. You've run out of petrol. There are no buildings and no signs of life, and you realize that the mission is over. You have failed and must try to get back to New Hope on foot. Perhaps try to reach San Anglo another time. Shouldn't you just bring a little bicycle or something in your interceptor? There we are. Right, so I did actually fail a few times this time, but I just felt it was a bit too soon to run out of petrol the first time. And also, what was it I did again? There was something with a car race, wasn't there? Where I felt that just to sort of get through it. Anyway, it's been a very interesting game, this, I think, because I was not expecting the car race at all. I was expecting other things. There's been fewer battles than I've expected. There's been more sort of trying to find the right route. And also that the car race was quite interesting as well. I'm sure one of the things that you see in these fighting fantasy games is that if you follow the correct route, of course, there's a lot of interesting things happening. And sometimes the wrong route is sort of skipping bits. I noticed that in Return to Firetop Mountain as well. And there's a place where if you go one way, you just go straight past something. And if you go the other way, there's this whole area that you can't get to unless you go through the right bits. It's from the torture chamber inside Return to Firetop Mountain, inside the mountain itself. So there we are. It's been a very interesting playthrough, I think. I've learned a lot. I'm still... Well, it looks like this is my can of... Right at the end here, that is my can of petrol that I need to get further. But in order to get it, I need to find out where do I get the plastic tubing. So that's going to be my big challenge for the next time, is to find somewhere I haven't explored yet where there might be some plastic tubing, which will help me siphon off the petrol. So that is it for the moment. It's been nice having you along for the ride in the riding shotgun in the passenger seat, and I really hope to see you again next time when I will be driving south again, trying to find my way to San Anglo and hopefully find enough petrol to get me there. I'm guessing, just guessing wildly now, that judging from the size of my maps, that this refill, not that one, this refill here might be the last one you need in order to get to San Anglo. Just guessing. It would seem a bit extreme if there was one more. So once you get to San Anglo, I'm not sure how much of a challenge it will be to get back. I'm presuming there still would be something, maybe, but also judging by the expanse of what I've explored, most of the challenge here is getting there, and getting back will not be as much of a difficulty. So there we have it. Freeway Fighter, third episode, but not the last. And I will see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your patience, and enjoy the rest of your day. Do something fun. Go and play a game book, for instance, or watch another YouTube video, whatever you like. Goodbye for now.